Cancer, welcome to the realm of astrology. This is a video about the long-term energies in your chart, things like where Saturn is, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and what those mean for you. And the reason I did this video is because, yes, astrology does change day to day, moment to moment, month to month, but there are certain themes that can last with us for years. Now that's due to the outer planets, the long-term energies. So in this video, my goal was to break those down for you so that you can get more insight into what you might be going through. And be mindful that this is just a basic overview and a lot depends on your personal chart as well. But that's what I wanted to say. And this video is for a Cancer rising, right? 0 degree Cancer rising. So what's your rising sign and then your sun sign? And if you are, say, a 29-degree Cancer rising or towards the end degrees, a Leo reading might resonate more with you because that's where the planets will be for you, closer to the Leo. So that's all I wanted to say. And another thing is that I also do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, and monthly sun rising sign horoscopes. And you can watch all those on my YouTube channel. And before we begin, Cancer, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening for you. Now, the first thing that I like to talk about is Saturn. Now, Saturn is a planet of hard work and decisions and discipline, right? It asks us to work hard in a certain area of our life where it is transiting. And the rewards that come with Saturn usually come much later. They don't come immediately. It requires you to work and then later on the rewards can come. And Saturn right now is in your 8th house, as you can see in your chart. And it has been here since December of 2020, right? Yes, it did go back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius between this last year in 2020, but it entered the sign of Aquarius for good in December of 2020. So let's say December of 2020, it entered your 8th house. And it will be here till March of 2023. And Saturn in your 8th house is asking you to work hard, put things in order, be disciplined about 8th house matters. Now, what are those? Those are intimate relationships, investments, personal karmic things, the ending of something, the beginning of something, catharsis, healing, transformation, total transformation. It's also the house of hidden things, occult things, right? That's the area it's asking you to work on. And the 8th house, it represents the hidden, right? And it is very mysterious in its own way. It's not as straightforward as, say, the 7th house, which is marriage and business partners. With 8th house, it could be a lot of the things that I mentioned. So it's asking you to work on those areas and will do till 2023 March. Now, before that, Saturn was in your 7th house. From December of 2017 to December of 2020, it was in your 7th house, meaning it asked you to work hard and put in order things connected to your marriage, business partnerships, legal relationships, as well as legal issues, right? That's what it did between then. And Cancer, let me also mention that since when it was in Capricorn, your 7th house, it did oppose your sign, right? So you would have felt changes in your 1st house as well, 180-degree angle opposition, changes in your identity, in who you are, and how you present yourself to the world, Cancer. Okay? And if you're a Cancer sun and if you have planets there, then the Saturn opposition would have done the same thing, asked you to work very hard in whatever that planet represents for you. Okay. So that's Saturn, where it's been and where it's going to be till 2023. And there are a couple of things that I want to mention about Saturn, right? Saturn, before we get into that, Saturn takes about 28-30 years to come back to the same spot. So when Saturn transits a house and it spends about 2.5-3 years in a house, after that, the base is kind of set for that house for the next 28-30 years. It will square it, it will oppose it, so things will change. But when it transits the house, that's where the most powerful transition happens in those 28-30 years. And this is important for you, Cancer, because in Capricorn, when Saturn was in Capricorn, it was opposing your sign. So that would have been quite intense for you. And in your seventh house, overlooking your first house, that transit would have felt intense in your marriage, in your business partnerships, with your legal relationships, legal issues, and your first house, you, your identity, your leadership skills. And when it entered your seventh house in 2017, around then, there would have been a shift of sorts, because as it hang on as it crossed over to your seventh house, it would have crossed your DC, right? And that meant it squared your MC, opposed this part of you, and then this part as well. So there, it not only changed your marriage and business partnerships, legal issues, it did square your house of career. There could have been a change in that it opposed your ascendant. There could have been a change in your identity, and it squared your IC. There could have been a change in your innermost core, your home, your family, and foundation. So all those things could have changed, right? So Saturn has felt very intense, especially between 2017 and 2020 for you, Cancer. Now, there are a few things that Saturn is doing that are very important, and let me talk about those. So, Saturn here, and the first is the Saturn here is squaring Uranus in your 11th house, right? 90-degree angle. We are seeing this energy after 21 years, so a long time. And this energy is asking us to embrace the new and get rid of the old. And in your 8th and 11th house, Cancer, it is highlighting 8th house matters and 11th house matters. What are those? Those are intimate relationships, investments, personal karmic things, occult things, hidden things, taboo things, all 8th house things. And 11th house, on the other hand, your acquaintances, the groups that you belong to, the organizations you're a part of, your hopes, goals, and dreams. And if science, tech, and innovation apply to you, then those as well. So this is what is being highlighted, that this is the area where the tug of war between the old and the new will kind of happen within these areas for you to change and embrace your authentic self. And this energy will stay with us all of 2021 and even in 2022. That's the first thing that Saturn is doing. Now, the second important thing, Cancer, is that Saturn and Jupiter met up at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Technically, it lies in your 8th house, but check your chart. It could be, check your chart to know which house 0 degrees of Aquarius is for you, and that's where the new beginning in December of 2020 happened. And in the 8th house, that new beginning of 20 years is happen in your intimate relationships, investments, personal karmic matters, hidden things, occult things, all those things. A lot of focus for you is on the 8th house, okay? That's where the new beginning happened. Now, if you're closer to, say, an N degree Leo, right, might just have happened in your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships. If you're an N degree Cancer closer to Leo, if it falls in your 7th house, then that new beginning would have been in 7th house matters. So check your chart to know where 0 degrees of Aquarius is for you. So that's a 20 years, that cycle that started in December of 2020 until 2023. We are going to be building that foundation, right? So that's the second thing connected to Saturn. Now, the third thing is the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. They conjuncted at 22 degrees of Capricorn, which makes it your 7th house, right? 22 degrees of Capricorn. So check where 22 degrees of Capricorn is, which house, and that's where this new beginning happened for you. But in this chart, it's the 7th house. So Cancer, in your 7th house, there was a new beginning in Jan of 2020 connected to your marriage, business partnerships, and legal issues, right? And that powerful conjunction did oppose your first house, your identity. So it could have brought about a change in your identity as well. And this new cycle of Saturn and Pluto will stay with us till 2053. So that's a long time, right? And sorry about that, Cancer. Let's get back to what we were doing. So that's Saturn for you. Saturn is the planet that we feel very intensely, because it is the ruler of our material reality. And for you, it has made changes in your 7th house of marriage, business partnerships, legal issues, your 8th house currently. And when it entered your 7th house in 2017, look when it entered your 7th house, right? Look for that. This is just a basic overview. 2017 end, more like it. 2018 actually. It did square this part of you, your career. It did oppose your identity and square the IC. So when a planet crosses one of these 4 points, it can reverberate through our entire chart. So you did go through that with Saturn. Now I'll speak about the next planet, and that's Uranus. Okay, so Uranus is in your 11th house. And what does Uranus want, Cancer? Uranus wants us to be our authentic self. That's what it wants. Very simply put. Other things too, but that's its main goal. And for that reason, it will get rid of things and bring things into our life that can help us be our authentic self, right? And it is doing that for you through your 11th house. I'll tell you what those areas are. But before that, Uranus is going to spend 7 years in this house till about 2026. So that's a long transit. And it takes about 84 years to come back to the same spot. And in your 11th house, right? It is helping you become your authentic self through the groups that you belong to, through the organizations that you're a part of, through your acquaintances, through your hopes, goals, and dreams, through science, tech, and innovation. Now, for example, if there is a group, an organization that can help you come into your authentic self, Uranus will bring that into your life. Or if there is a dream that you have for the future, but that's not in alignment with your authentic self, Uranus will get rid of that. And Uranus energy is unexpected. It can come out of nowhere, right? And it's electrifying. So that's Uranus, and that's what it is doing and will do till 2026. So this is the area where you might face radical shifts, sudden shifts in your life, and always know that the purpose is so that you can be your authentic self. Okay. That's Uranus. Now let's talk about Pluto. Pluto here is in your 7th house. It's in the sign of Capricorn, and it's been in the sign of Capricorn since 2008. So a long time. And it will be here for another 2-3 years. And in your 7th house, it's been here since 2008. It has slowly been transformed. First of all, what does Pluto want? Pluto is the planet of spiritual transformation, and it wants a complete, total transformation. It wants complete catharsis. It wants complete purification. It will end something and begin something new. It's total transformation, Pluto. But it's slow, it's subconscious, and wherever Pluto is transiting, we feel a sort of heaviness in that area, right? And for you, that's your house of marriage and business partnerships. That's where Pluto is. Slowly, through your marriage, through your legal relationships, through your business partnerships, through your legal issues, Pluto is transforming you spiritually. And the Pluto transformation does not always feel easy. It is so subtle and subconscious that we may not even realize it, because it's not material like Saturn. It's underlying. But that's in your 7th house and will be for another 2-3 years. And let me also mention that in 2008, when it crossed into Capricorn, or check where your rising sign starts, because Pluto is so slow moving. This can be off by a few years. Say if you're a 10-degree Cancer and your descendant is at 10 degrees of Capricorn, then 2000 it will not make sense with your resonate. But for a 0-degree Capricorn descendant, it crossed into your 7th house in 2008, and when it did, it would have created a powerful shift in your marriage, business partnerships, legal issues, as well as your career, because it squared that, as well as your identity, because it opposed that, and as well as your inner heart and soul and your family and foundation, because it squared that. So be mindful of that. Again, the date can be completely few years off depending on where your descendant is placed, what degree. So that's Pluto. And now I will speak about Neptune. Neptune is, okay, before we move on to Neptune, Pluto takes 248 years to come back to the same spot. So that tells you when Pluto is transitioning a house, it's a once in a lifetime thing. If it conjuncts a planet, opposes it, squares it, that's also a once in a lifetime thing. So Pluto changes permanently. That's Pluto. And now let's come to Neptune. Neptune is a planet that can manifest itself in two very distinct ways. One is that it can be the most spiritual, magical feeling in the world. It can bring about a lot of creativity. It is the higher octave of Venus. So it can do all those things. But on the other hand, it can cause immense confusion, right? And for you, Neptune has been in your 9th house. It's been in the sign of Pisces since 2011. So a long time. And it has been in your ninth house since then. Again, look at where your ninth house starts, then you'll know the dates. But in your ninth house, it can connect you to the spiritual world through matters of the ninth house, which are higher education, foreign travel, knowledge, wisdom, publishing. And an example that I can give of this is maybe you travel to a foreign land and that land helps you connect with your spirituality. Or perhaps you, in your education, in receiving some wisdom, you are able to connect with the spiritual world. That could be one manifestation. However, Neptune can also bring about a lot of confusion. So it can bring about a lot of confusion connected to ninth house things, higher education, foreign travel, belief system. Maybe you're confused about your beliefs. Maybe you're not able to see those clearly. Maybe you're looking for wisdom and knowledge and you're confused about that area. It could be any one of these things. So that's Neptune. And Neptune is another slow-moving energy. It takes about 160 years. I can never remember the exact figure, but approximately 160 years to come back to the same spot. So again, it's a permanent change. Okay. So that's Neptune. Now we are left with, we've done Uranus, we've done Neptune, we've done Saturn, Pluto. Let's talk about Jupiter. Now Jupiter takes about 12 years to come back to the same spot. So it's not very slow moving. It spends about a year in a sign, so about a year in a house on average. Again, depends on your houses. And right now it's retrograded back into Aquarius, but between 2021 and 2022, it will be in Pisces, right? And in Pisces, it is going to give you gifts, blessings, and even bring you lessons connected to the ninth house, publishing, your belief system, higher education, knowledge, wisdom, foreign travel. It could be blessings, it could be healing, it could be gifts. And then it is going to cross over your MC in 2021 to 2022. It's going to be in your ninth house. And then when it crosses over into Aries, it is going to cross over your MC, which means it can bring a positive change, a positive healing, even lessons connected to your career, as well as your identity, as well as your deepest emotions, your home family foundation, as well as your marriage and spouse, but primarily your career. With the others, it's just making aspects, so it may not be as potent as a conjunction. And when it does enter in 2022 into the sign of Aries, it will enter your 10th house and give you blessings and gifts and healing connected to your business and career. Okay, so that's Jupiter. Now I'll talk about Chiron and then the nodes, and then we'll close it out because I want to keep it as short and concise as possible. Now Chiron is in your 10th house, Cancer, and Chiron is a planet of healing, but the healing that comes with Chiron is bittersweet. It heals us by digging the wound deeper. So it like digs the wound deeper and deeper and deeper till you reach a point where you're healed. That's how Chiron works, and it's going to be in your 10th house for a while. In your 10th house, all this healing that can feel like wounding is happening in your career and business. And it's going to continue for a few more years. But the end result is always healing. The end result is healing. So that's a positive, right? And that's Chiron for you. And now let's talk about the nodes. The North Node is in Gemini, your 12th house, and the South Node is in Sag, your 6th house. And the nodes are karmic. They have an 18.5-year cycle. So in 18.5 years, they come back to the same spot. So think 2001, 2003, around then the nodes were in around the same position. And in your 12th house, what does the North Node do? North Node is a karmic activator. So it will activate karmic things connected to the 12th house, which is what? Spirituality, the subconscious mind, the past closing out. It's also the house of isolation, of spiritual practice like meditation and yoga. And if drugs, delusions, addiction, lies, depression apply to you, then those as well. So karmically, it will activate that house. Perhaps you are a very spiritual person, but you didn't know it, but like the North Node comes into that area for you and activates that part for you. It could be something as simple as that. These are just examples. It could be any one of the things that I mentioned, in any one of those areas. And in your 6th house, the South Node is a karmic cleanup of sorts. It cleans out karmic karma. Karma is karmic. It cleans out karma. And In your 6th house, this is connected to your health, your job, your lifestyle, your day-to-day routine, your habits, your diet, your nutrition, your exercise, because that's the 6th house. Perhaps there's a job that's run its course karmically, then South Node can come and clean it up. Or if there's a habit, or something connected to your health, something very simple like that. And you can always look back at 2001 and 2003. If certain themes are coming back into your life from then those are karmic, because the nodes bring up karmic stuff. Okay, and yeah, okay. And let me clean up the chart and then we'll talk about where the nodes will be. This will continue till 2022, and then the nodes are going to change signs, right? It's going to enter your 11th and 5th house, and then the North Node is going to karmically activate your 11th house, which is connected to your social circle, the groups that you belong to, the organizations that you're a part of, the acquaintances that you keep, your hopes, goals, and dreams, science, tech, and innovation. And in your 5th house, the South Node is going to clean up karmic matters connected to love, romance, creativity, hobbies, children, pleasure, fun. For example, if there's a love relationship that's run its course, then the karmic thing might end. These are just examples. Could be anything connected to that because they're karmic. Again, I cannot tell you what that karma is. I can only tell you where the nodes are and what the karma might, which area of your life the karma might come up. So those are the nodes, and from 2022 to about at least 2023, because this reading is till 2023, the nodes will be there. Right? First here till 2022 in your 12th and 6th, and then 11th and 5th in 2023. And that's the nodes. And with this, I have covered all the long-term energies in your chart. I also want to mention, Cancer, that okay, let's go back. Before this, before the South Node was in Sag, it was in Capricorn, right? In about 2020 beginning, especially, it was in Capricorn. And in your sign, the North Node was here and the South Node was here, your 1st and 7th house. And during that time, Pluto was there, Saturn was there, all in your 7th house. So between 2017, especially 2018 onwards to 2020, it could have felt very, very intense for you. Firstly, because Pluto and Saturn conjuncted in your 7th house, marriage, business partnerships, and they oppose your identity, right? Who you are. So that could have felt very intense. And the South Node was there as well. So that would have just made this process more intense. But now that's over, right? Now Saturn has moved on, the nodes have moved on, so the energy is easing off. So although Cancer, we don't have Pluto in your sign, we don't have Cancer in your sign, we don't have the nodes in your sign, between 2018 and 2020, all these three were in the opposite sign of Capricorn. And since Capricorn is your opposite sign, opposing your sign, you would have felt that intensity very strongly, right? And if, depending on your chart, the conjunction of these planets, the closeness of these planets squared your MC, then you would have felt it in your career. And if it squared your IC as well, you would have felt this in your inner heart and soul, in your home, family, foundation as well, Cancer. So this is all I'm going to say for this reading. Again, the goal is to provide a very basic overview. And again, this is just a very general overview. A lot depends on your personal chart, where the planets are for you. And as well, if you are someone with really big houses, really small houses, this can throw the reading off completely. So it's best to know where the planets are for you. And again, this is for 0 degree Cancer rising. If you're an N degree Cancer, again, the planets may be in totally different houses because these are very slow moving energies. They can be years off, right? Just keep that in mind as you watch this. And I hope you guys found this helpful in some way, because that's why I did this video. And do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and I will see you in one of my other videos, Cancer. Bye.